Bryce from Eden Condensed Small Space Garden Design. And I'm always looking for unusual ways and unusual things to use as planters in the garden, especially if you have a small space. And I happen to have this tire laying around, and I thought, well, I'm not going to use it on a car, so I might as well use it as a planter. So I'm actually going to take this tire and we're going to plant tomatoes in it. Now, as you know, tires, they make great swings because you can stick your legs through them, but they also make great planters because of the hole. But because I'm putting this on grass, I'm also going to use a weed blocker underneath in order to keep the grass from growing up. So the first thing you want to do is to measure out your weed cloth, and you can get this at a nursery or hardware store, big box home store. It's pretty easy to find and pretty inexpensive. And don't worry about being perfect, just as long as you've got a little extra than the hole in the bottom. So I'm just going to cut that, and I'm going to put the weed blocker inside. This will keep any grass from growing up through my potting soil, as well as any weeds from coming up into where my tomatoes are. If you're going to plant tomatoes in a tire, it's important that you use a fairly large tire because you do want some depth there so that the roots can spread out. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this about halfway with potting soil. So I'm going to fill this up. This is a 1.5 cubic foot bag of organic potting soil. I always choose organic potting soil because what I put in my body and what goes in the plants, I want to make sure it's organic. Smooth your soil out. I'm also going to add a little bit of organic tomato fertilizer here. You want to build a nice deep hole. Fill that with about a handful of fertilizer. You can also use compost if you have it. Eggshells are really great with tomatoes. And this size tire is going to accommodate 2 tomato seedlings. So I've got a Kellogg's heirloom tomato, which is a big orange tomato. And I'm going to pop that in there. Tomatoes like to be covered up, so make sure you're covering the root ball up plus more. I also have a Cherokee purple tomato, which should be good. And we're going to dig a nice big hole for that one too. If you can leave a good foot of space in between the 2 plants, that would be great. And then lastly, I'm going to put some basil in here too, because basil always goes great with tomatoes, and so I always plant them next to each other. And the basil won't compete with the tomato plants either. And we'll put that in there too. And if you want, you can put your little signs in so you know which tomato is which as they grow. And then as the tomatoes grow, you'll probably want to put some sort of tomato cage or support in here to keep them from falling over. You can use a stake as well and tie it to that. So if you have any other questions about how to plant tomatoes in a tire, please contact me at edencondensed.com. Thank you very much.